Welcome back, guys, to the Beyond the Backboard Podcast. Another, just regular podcast today. Episode 80. My name is Omar. Next to me are my beautiful co-hosts Max and Earl. Not too much going on in the NBA, but there is some things going on, right? Dame Lillard is ruled out with no timeline. That could actually be pretty good for long term. Let's start off on the Bucks.
Timeout. That's a terrible way to introduce that. Damian Lillard has no timetable because he has a blood clot. Hopefully things are well within his camp. I know those are kind of serious, obviously career-ending type of situations. Hopefully it's not that for him. But prayers out to him and his family. But continue.
That was in bad taste. My bad.
Yeah,
that was in bad taste. But that actually wasn't the direction I was going. And I was gonna say it's just it might turn out good for Milwaukee in the long run because of where they are now and how the placement is working out. That's all that I meant by that. I wasn't talking about Dame's injury yet. I actually didn't know what happened. I didn't know. But
no, it's all good. I know you did.
It's good. It's good that we got that out of the way first. But dude, that's rough. Didn't this happen to LaMarcus Aldridge as well, right?
Did LaMarcus Aldridge have a blood clot?
I think
thought it was Chris Bosh.
I'm pretty sure it was LaMarcus as well. He came back for a year with Brooklyn, but he got it when he was in San Antonio.
Maybe he did. I don't know.
That sounds kind of right, but I can't confirm that.
Yeah,
LaMarcus Aldridge blood clot.
I don't know.
Yeah, blood clots. Oh man. Retired to the NBA due to health concerns related to an irregular heartbeat and specifically Wolff Parkinson's White syndrome. Okay, so it may have not been a blood clot, but Wolff. Wait, what is Wolff? Yeah, so I remember he retired when he was in San Antonio and then went to Brooklyn for a year after he came back. He came out of retirement. I specifically
was it retirement or was he just a free agent, wasn't signed? It may have been retirement.
I think he retired. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Oh my gosh.
Honestly, I really don't know if he retired because of that. If we're being honest, but what was your main point you were making with that transition with Damian Lillard?
I was saying because they were teammates at one point. They were teammates at one point, like a duo at one point, and it's unfortunate to see them kind of go down the same hole.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Not gonna lie.
There's not a lot to say on it, unfortunately.
No, I'm just saying it's just okay, anyways. You're talking about whatever. Let's get back to what you were saying though. You were talking about this Dame being out could be a good thing for the Bucks basketball wise. Let's get back to what you were saying about that.
I think dude, I don't think they're making a run this season at all. I think
they could with Lillard.
I mean, yeah,
they at least have a chance. I don't think.
with Lillard, of course.
Now.
I think everybody would have a chance with Damian Lillard. That's not to say anything, but we don't know when he's coming back, and playoffs are around the corner.
Yeah, I guess we don't know for a fact that he's out for the playoffs, but you hear blood clots. I feel like at this late in the season, I'm going to assume that it's season ending. At least this is not something. It's not a sprained finger where it's maybe you can rehab it and come back. Blood, you got to be extra cautious with stuff like this. They ruled Wemby out for the season.
Yeah,
a month and a half with a month and a half to go in the season. So. Maybe I guess they're never going to say never because the timetable like this, like you said, is very uncertain. But I don't think we've seen a player deal with blood clots and come back 2 weeks later. That just doesn't happen. So
no,
I think it would be great for the Bucks and for Dame. Obviously, if he could come back, I think I would have to imagine though the goal is just to be ready for next season. Find out what is causing this, clear it up, get on the medication, do what you got to do, get the offseason to make sure you're right, and then start off full head of steam next year. But I guess you never know. But I would have to assume.
Yeah, this to add in the details, it was he's saying a deep vein thrombosis.
Yeah, that's what happened with Wemby.
In his right calf. Lillard is on blood thinning medication now, which has stabilized blood clots and will continue with regular testing. He is out indefinitely. So basically a means to kind of just control it while it's here, but they still have to figure out like what's causing it. So I don't see him probably not returning this year.
Hey,
2 weeks to the playoffs? I mean, health over everything, bro.
Yeah.
Especially in your leg.
Maybe if the Bucks make a finals run, but that's probably not happening.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was a betting man, I would say that Damian Lillard doesn't come back this year just so like he can make sure himself that this is not going to take him out of the league 100%.
Yeah. He still has a career.
It's unfortunate because I feel like any team would benefit from a Damian Lillard. Obviously, the Bucks really need it at this time, especially with no Bobby Portis. And their team just looks different from the championship team that they had that year. And they haven't been the same, unfortunately. So right now, what does the standings look like? I think they see the Knicks. I'm not sure. But it could flip. It could flip.
I see the headlines now. Half roster Bucks take out the New York Knicks.
That's
Tom Thibodeau on the hot seat.
Honestly,
how's that sound, chat? Chat, that's not a banger, chat.
I'll tell you this though, Earl, straight up. If we're talking about that briefly, I'll tell you straight up. If Tom Thibodeau doesn't make it out of the second round this season, I do see some actual discussions of him being moved.
I mean, there's options out there. I mean, you got your guy from the Grizzlies out there. Shout out to Holder in the chat, Taylor Jenkins. I don't know, man. I feel like Thibodeau, like you said, I think. Well, since we switched to the Knicks, I'm cool talking about it for a second. Yeah. I made the transition, but so I might as well elaborate. Yeah,
it's your fault. You did it.
It's on his head.
Honestly, I think Thibodeau, like we've seen. Okay, let me organize my thoughts. This team is good. Like you guys have all the pieces. I feel like as far as like a deep team, as far as a deep team, you guys have the wings to do it. You guys have bigs. Maybe you can add a little piece here and there, whatever. But as far as core, you guys have it. I think after that, you start questioning what's next. You're not going to get rid of Brunson. You already got rid of the guy you felt like was the locker room type problem, Julius Randle. You're not going to get rid of Mikal. You just got him. All these guys, OG, you just signed him to a contract. So what's next? What's the cheapest option to do? Coaching always takes a hit. And I think Thibodeau, to his credit, great coach, obviously. I think his pedigree is the reason why he still is the head coach of the Knicks. But I still do feel like if he doesn't pass that threshold that he's been at, then he could be in the hot seat. I'm not saying he's going to go out there and get fired.
100%,
I'm not saying all that. But this could be a pivotal moment for Tibbs, this playoffs run.
So what I'll say to that, your first part of it was I give this roster one more season before they make any drastic changes, considering Mikal Bridges or OG Anunoby, I guess. Even though I don't think OG is going to be a problem, but Mikal might be. But in terms of that, and again, I agree with you. Tom Thibodeau, look, his pedigree as a coach, we all understand his pedigree as a coach. We all understand what he's done in Chicago. We all understand what happened with Derrick Rose. We all understand everything that makes Tom Thibodeau Tom Thibodeau. With that being said, I don't see him being fired. I see him being promoted because he has instilled this defensive first culture with the Knicks. I know that shocks some people, but it's
promoted.
Yeah, I know, but
to what, GM?
What's the next position up? I'd say probably.
I mean, Brad Stevens got promoted to GM basically.
Yeah. So you're saying basically a respectful firing, or we're
a respectful promotion so you can get somebody to fill that hole. Because you have to understand, he brought the Knicks back from a losing culture, like a really bad losing culture for like a 5-6 year drought in the where Phil Jackson was our president of basketball operations.
Mm-hmm.
So it was this thing where he immediately came in and only missed the playoffs one time, which is really good when you come from Derek Fisher and what's his name? David Fizdale, right? Those terrible, terrible years. So like I want to give Thibs the respect that he deserves because he did change the culture of the Knicks to become a more defensive centric team and to become more forward thinkers. But again, he has to be moved. And if that's him being the GM, that's him being the GM. But I need Leon Rose in control of this team at all times. That's all I care about.
Does he have like the GM mind, like to like craft a team that works?
I don't know.
That's my only question. I don't know. I don't know what his whole background experience is in that. I mean, I'm assuming Brad Stevens didn't have that, but he had really good relationships with a lot of players. Not saying Tibbs doesn't, but
Tibbs has amazing relationships with his players. He loves Josh Hart. He loves Mikal Bridges. He never used to have those relationships back in Chicago either. So it really shows some growth on his aspect as well.
I don't think that's true.
Look it up. I believe Taj Gibson. Taj Gibson said it. Like he didn't like making relationships in Chicago with.
But then a bunch of his Chicago guys went and played for him again. So
that's very true. I'll say
figure that one out.
I mean, dude. You're talking about Joakim Noah, Derrick Rose, and Taj Gibson. You're talking about the guys that he absolutely trusted.
Well of them. You look at a bunch of guys he coached in Chicago; they still speak well of him. A lot of them
sure they do.
For him again multiple times. So
because he did change the way that he coached. Let's be real. Okay, let's go back to the Chicago Bulls era where they were talking about his players were playing 40 minutes a game, but they were still practicing. Now they might sometimes. It hasn't been like this recently. We've actually gone pretty good with the minutes as of late because of the point guard situation and stuff like that. But as of now, it's been all right. It's well,
that has nothing to do with him making relationships with players.
I mean, I agree with that.
Players have always liked him. That's my point. There was never a time where he was not a liked head coach. Even in Chicago, he was always a liked coach.
Even when he was with the Celtics, he was always a liked coach. That's not what I'm saying.
He was always a likable. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was always. I don't think there was ever a time where players really didn't like playing for him.
They only didn't like his reputation, and that's what people drove. That's what people drove away from him for, his reputation.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a lot of people who didn't play for him. His reputation for people he didn't coach is one
Max,
thing.
you got to understand.
Ask anyone who played for him, they almost always tell you the opposite. That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm with you here, but let's be real. For a few years there are people shitting on Tibbs because of this.
But not people who played for him.
I agree with you because people weren't paying attention. They were only listening to the narrative.
Omar, time out, bro. Time out. Omar, this playing the middle, the in-between is absolutely crazy. The whole reason we started this is because you said he didn't build any relationships in Chicago.
Dude, somebody said that. I'm telling you, I'll look it up. I'll look up the clip. But
probably just the narrative that you're talking about. Probably just the narrative because anyone who played for him in Chicago always talks positively about him. So it's just not true.
Okay. People follow the narrative. That's what I'm saying.
Back to the point here. Y'all talked about Tibbs as someone who could potentially be on the hot seat in this playoffs if the Knicks underperform. Maybe don't make a conference finals run. Certainly if they get out in the first round, I think there would be a lot of people calling for a switch up at the head coaching position. And now the fact that you've got some coaches available. You've got Taylor Jenkins, obviously. You've got Mike Brown, still without a job, could be looking to get back in the coaching game this year. There are a couple names out there that I think teams are going to have their eye on. I want to ask y'all, what are some other head coaches that you think what are the head coaches that y'all think are going to be under the most pressure this playoff run? Who's going to be under the most scrutiny? Who has the most to lose if their teams underperform in this playoffs?
We answered that question before, yeah?
Well, I mean, you talked about Tibbs. I do agree. I think Tibbs is definitely one of them. I would say who else is in –
okay.
Who else could be on the hot seat here, or at least is under a lot of pressure? I'll put it that way, under pressure to perform.
Honestly, I think – man, okay. I know it probably doesn't matter. By pressure, do you mean pressure of next to be fired if you don't make a significant run, or pressure as far as you've kind of shown us what you are, but you still have to take another step up?
I think either. I think either kind of pressure. In my mind, pressure could be pressure from within the organization, as in you're on the hot seat. Pressure from the national media to prove yourself. Pressure from just kind of the narrative of this is your year to put up or shut up. So I would just say under the most scrutiny, who has the most to lose from this playoff run, so to speak.
I have a couple of teams, bro.
Okay.
First team I'll say, I'll go from lowest to highest pressure. I think that's the best way I can do it. Lowest pressure for me is OKC, just because they're still a really young team. Okay. But like I said earlier in the season, like this is their second year in a row having a dominant regular season. First place, 2 years in a row. Shea, MVP candidate, both years in a row. But now it's like, okay, we're going into the playoffs. We're going to be healthy. What type of run can we make? At this point, I think people are kind of expecting them to do a lot better. Like I said, they're a young team, but what's next? Like, I don't think the ceiling for them should be, hey, let's just lock in the first seed and be a first or second round exit. I think for them, it's got to be like Western Conference Finals. We got to start talking about as far as floors for OKC personally. So I'll start with that team.
Sure. I just wouldn't say Dagnall is necessarily under the pressure. Like, I think even if they do second round bounce this year, I think they bring Dagnall back for another year. But I mean, you make a point. It is kind of put up or shut up time for OKC.
I do give the OKC Thunder like a 3-year window. I mean, well, no, not a 3-year window. Let me correct what I'm saying. Like a 3-year experiment, I would say, because whether we see it or not, I think Isaiah Hartenstein is a big reason why they can continue to be dominant in the regular season and also in the playoffs, because we forget that's exactly what they were missing during their finals run last season. So it's good.
Wait, you mean
rebounding
finals run?
I mean, I'm sorry. What they were missing during their during their playoff run. Sorry, okay. I said finals run. I meant playoff run. My bad. But like I said, what they were missing mostly was rebounding and defense. So they went and they literally addressed that immediately by picking up Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein, two prominent defenders, interior and outside. So again, I agree with Earl. They kind of have the least pressure here because they have that kind of like 3-year experiment time to see what Isaiah Hartenstein can like develop into rebound wise, and how Chet Holmgren and him work together in the future. See how that works.
Yeah. I got a curveball too for y'all. How do you feel about that?
I have a curveball too. I don't think it's going to be the same.
Actually, I'll let you go first. That's already did one. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, no, you got to go first. I got to see if mine's the same.
No. Max, go first.
All right. My curveball for, at least in terms of head coaching job, I'm actually going to say the Timberwolves. I feel even though last year Chris Finch did a phenomenal job getting that team to the conference finals, and even despite the injury that he just crazily suffered during that playoff run, the fact that this team, even after that conference finals run, turned around and traded Karl-Anthony Towns, who was a massive, massive contributor to that run, the fact that they were so trigger happy to make that move tells me that this is not an organization that I think is going to give Chris Finch a lot of leeway. Like, if this team does not win a playoff series, which I think is very much possible, they're the 7 seed, 6 seed right now. There is a decent chance Minnesota loses in the first round. I think even with that conference finals run in the back pocket last year, they might look to switch it up. We wouldn't have expected them to trade Cat after a conference finals run last year, but they did. So with that said, what's stopping them, that same regime, from going ahead and firing Chris Finch if they just don't even win a playoff series this year? I think even though he is a very good coach, and that's not necessarily the decision I would make, I would give Chris Finch a longer leash than 1 year. But the way the Timberwolves are kind of running their business right now, would it be crazy for them to go fire Chris Finch? I don't think so.
Earl, what do you think? I have some thoughts, but you're muted, brother.
You're not muted. Your mic's unplugged.
Oh, my fault.
There you go.
I was about to say, I like that idea. As far as it being an option, I think the Timberwolves, they're mid. I understand you lost Karl-Anthony Towns. I get that, but as a coach, it's your job to adjust. It's your job to game plan, and I just don't think they did a lot to do that at all. Outside looking in, I know they're on a better run than what they were starting the season after that trade happened, but still, they're the 7th seed with one of the best players. one of our youngest stars in the league. They're 7th seed, and he's healthy. So I don't know, man. Warriors are better than now. I think half a game out. Like they're 7th seed. Warriors are 6th seed now. I mean,
actually, Golden State was the team I was going to bring up next.
Oh, bet. Then,
and this is an example of Golden State is an example of not a team that I think, not a head coach that I think has job security on the line. I don't think even if they do not do well in this playoffs, they're not going to fire Steve Kerr. Put that right out there. Steve Kerr can basically, it seems like Golden State is loyal to him as long as he'll coach. Unless the wheels really fall off and like we're talking post-Steph, post-Jimmy here, it seems like Steve Kerr will be the head coach of that team for the next few years. I'm sure Steph loves him. I'm sure Draymond loves him. I don't think he's going anywhere. But in terms of pressure from a media perspective, there were a lot of people calling Steve Kerr washed at the start of this year. So much so that he responded to it in a press conference. That's how you know that it's pretty bad when the narrative is that dominant. People saying he shouldn't be coaching Team USA. People saying he should just retire from the Warriors, let someone else coach Steph Curry for once. I think now that they have Jimmy Butler and they've kind of had a rebound in the second half of the season, I think the media is going to put pressure on Steve Kerr. If the Warriors do not do well in this playoff run, I think you're going to be seeing people over the offseason calling for a change at the Golden State Warriors head coach job. They're going to say, Steph and Jimmy are not the problem. It's Steve Kerr. His ways are outdated. He had his run. The Warriors need to move on. So, again, I don't think they will. As long as Steph is there, I think his job is safe. But certainly, if you saw people calling for his head after winning the Olympics last summer, if the Warriors do not make a conference finals run or at least a deep second-round run, I think absolutely people are going to question Steve Kerr's job.
Can I be honest?
Yes.
I think Steve Kerr's job is safer than Draymond Green's.
I think they're both up there in terms of safety. I don't see either of them going anywhere.
I'll say this. I'll throw in like another team, like maybe not as important because I don't think anybody has high expectations for this team. But I'm going to say the Pacers, bro. Like I feel like they're in a weird spot. Like they got Siakam last year. I know right now they're currently the 4th seed, but I'm more so talking about playoffs. Like I want to see them. Like what's next? What's the floor for this team? Like, what's our realistic expectations with a Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner, who we don't know is going to re-sign next year, Pascal Siakam? Who else is on that team?
Mathurin is underrated.
Right. As long as dude, if Mathurin gets more consistent, that's a better team. But
like they have a good roster, so that leads me to think like, okay, is it coaching? Slightly,
I would say coaching very much got them to the 3rd round last year. That's one where I do think Carlisle is going to have a longer leash for getting them to the conference finals in a year where certainly no one on the outside expected them to go that far. I know internally they'll say, "Well, that's where we want it to be," but I think, I would say
hurt them.
Maybe not.
That's going to hurt them in the long run.
I mean, kind of,
especially with Carlisle.
Other than that, like I'm looking around, I just don't see like a lot of teams where I'm like, okay, I expected you to be in a different spot. I can't really say Magic. They had a lot of injury problems, and when they came back, they still weren't connecting. Heat, they had that trade. I mean, Bulls are the Bulls.
Billy Donovan might get fired just because, but I don't think that's going to have anything to do with their playoffs.
Yeah, like Hornets are the Hornets.
Contingent on that at all.
I mean, 76ers, they were hurt pretty much the whole year, so I don't know if I completely blame, but it could be a conversation for sure.
I think they go and I think wow, I can't talk. I think they part ways. I think they part ways.
This offseason?
Yeah, I think they part ways this offseason.
Maybe.
I could see Taylor Jenkins taking that role, to be honest.
But like the West, I don't see the West making any drastic coaching changes, bro. Like
I don't see it either.
I don't like Rockets and Udoka. He's chilling.
I still think that Dagnall's chilling on the Thunder. Malone's not going anywhere.
Exactly. Grizzlies coach already got packed up. Clippers, Tyronn Lue.
You know who's in trouble? You know who's in trouble? What's his name? Former Bucks head coach, now the Suns.
Budenholzer?
Yeah, he's in trouble.
Yeah, they suck regardless, though. I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know. Honestly, they just fired their coach.
They really fucked up by trading for Bradley Beal. They fucked up everything that they had.
Okay, then would you say it's the coach's fault or is it the Bradley Beal?
I think it's also. I think it's okay. So I think one part is to blame, right? I think when we talk about whose fault is Bradley Beal, I think we could point to Matt Ishbia wanting to kind of build that team like a 2K roster team as soon as he heard that Bradley Beal was on the market. And then we have Budenholzer to blame for not really capturing the locker room. I think that came out like a few weeks ago that like the players just don't really trust him, and people don't really like him in there. And on top of the fact, I think they're mismanaging the hell out of KD. Why the hell are you putting him in trade conversations before he even asks you to? You don't do that with a player caliber of Kevin Durant. If he asks you to trade him, that's a different story. If you're throwing him in trade conversations because for the hell of it, because you can't find a partner for Bradley Beal, you're being lazy.
But
to be honest,
like, we can't even, bro. There's nothing you can do. Like the Suns, the Suns are the one team you legit. It has to play out. Like the one person who's the safest on that team is Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal decides where he wants to go. You can't trade Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal will go to it if he's like, okay, you know what? Sure. First, you got to find a place that he wants to go to. Second, that place has to want Bradley Beal and give up the assets to pay for him. And that's not happening, bro. The money he's making plus his next years, he is on the Suns. That's it. Like the Suns they can't make any drastic changes for the next couple of years. That's just a fact. So KD, he's probably going to have to leave. Like he's probably going to have to request out if he wants to make that decision.
I think if KD leaves this offseason, we're going to hear some chatter about Devin Booker wanting to be moved. It's very possible. I don't see him wanting to be part of another rebuild. Because he was in the finals 2 years ago. They literally could 3 years ago, my bad. But they could have literally kept that team together and gone again. If they didn't trade Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, it literally took all their defense away. And then you trade Chris Paul and you don't have a point guard. Like you don't have anybody to facilitate.
It wasn't that was the problem. It was the Beal trade that messed everything up.
The Beal trade was what ruined them. Because I think if you just kept – because they traded Mikal and Cam Johnson. If you just keep Paul, Booker, Durant, and Ayton, that I think can get you back to the final.
That's a good lineup as well. Yeah, I mean,
the Beal thing just ruined their financial flexibility
and their pick flexibility. The end of time. They literally can't make any trades and throw any picks in there. They don't have
exactly. It was the Beal. It wasn't. It's like the KD trade was good. I think they only ran one playoff series with them, and it was the year after they got KD at the deadline. So really, they only ran that lineup of like Paul, Booker, Durant, Ayton for like.
And to be honest. How many first-round picks are you giving up for KD right now? 3?
It depends on the team.
Probably 3. I mean, 3, I don't know. Maybe. Durant, yeah, he's 36. Probably 3. Probably 3 in seconds. And
he's retiring within the next 2 or 3 years. He's already injured right now.
I can see KD
dude, he's in his twilight years, man. Come on.
He is.
He like as much as I love KD as a scorer and what he's done for the game on that part of the floor, he doesn't have LeBron's longevity.
But we're talking. The problem with that conversation is like, I feel like some of these like there's exceptions, bro. Like Kevin Durant hasn't really shown signs of that yet. Like what is he averaging this year? I'm sure it's above 25 points per game.
I'm sure it is, but in all greats alike, we can look back in history and see players that maybe should have retired a little earlier than they would have.
Yeah, but those are players who've shown signs of regressing, but KD hasn't yet.
That's offensively, as well, yeah. That's also what I've been saying.
He's putting up 27, 26
he's doing work.
6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 43% from 3, bro.
No,
I'm not saying
right now he's still a top 10 player in basketball.
Yeah.
Right? However, I do agree with Omar that a team does have to be conscious of this. You don't see teams give up that much for players for 36, 37-year-olds. Obviously, not many 36, 37-year-olds are Kevin Durant and playing at an all-star level at that point.
And let's be real, is he going to be the type?
You have to be careful about how much they're giving up for this. I do agree with that.
Yeah, maybe we'll see him in the EuroLeague or something.
What?
I'm joking. Never mind.
Come on,
I was addressing his pettiness. I was like, maybe we'll see him in EuroLeague or something because he got traded for 3 first-round picks.
How old is KD? You say
he's
36 right now.
Yeah, right.
Okay, bet.
I could 37? See him playing until 40. In terms of good years left, he's
like,
probably.
I said 2-3, 39, 40.
I know completely different players, but like looking at Kareem at 36, he was putting up 21.5 points a game.
When did he retire?
At 41 years old.
Okay.
When he actually dropped. The year he really dropped was 39, and he went from 23.4 to 17.5. And then after 39, 40, he put up 14 points. After that, 41, he put up 10 points again.
Okay.
So I still think Kevin Durant has years. Like, if this is like this type of decline, like we know how Kareem's body was. He's really lengthy center. Kevin Durant, I won't say obviously they have totally different games. But
my bad. Continue. My bad.
No, I'm just saying, like, I think Kevin Durant still has some years in him. I'm telling you, he can be one of those ones 100%. Who play for a minute because his game, he's so offensive heavy. Like, we don't really rely on Kevin Durant to be a defender. He can still shoot, bro. He can probably shoot till he's about 40. Will he? Probably not. But I'm just saying, like, he still has some years under the belt.
I think both can be true. I think Durant can still play like a top 15 or 20 player for the next maybe even 3 seasons. But teams will still be reluctant to throw more than maybe a third first-round pick at him just because they do know the end is near. And nobody wants to be the next team to wind up with Nets Paul Pierce and Nets Kevin Garnett. Nobody wants that.
Or son Shaq. Like,
well, I think everyone knew Shaq was gone at that point. That was just that. No one wants to be the team to give up major assets for a player who's already way past, who just regresses the second they hit the team, and then your picks wind up being really good. They don't want to do that.
KD is the best scorer that this generation has ever seen. Arguably, probably one of the best scorers in NBA history, I would say.
I wouldn't even say arguably. I think that's just factual at this point.
Like the way that he gets buckets, he could do. Earl, he could do anything.
LeBron, but we ball.
I mean, I agree with you, dude. We're not talking about LeBron. We're talking about KD.
We're not talking about King James. Durant, LeBron are not in the same level, and I'll say that in a Lakers chat. We're not talking about players, Earl. We're talking about scoring the basketball himself, not creating for others. Yeah. We're not talking about offense.
Who's the all-time leading scorer?
Who's played more games than anyone.
All right, whatever.
You can probably calculate the amount of games Kevin Durant has played and stop at that amount of games for LeBron, and I'm pretty sure he'll probably still have more.
LeBron has a record. I think it was what did KD's recent he got like a recent stat. I think it was an honor of some sort. He was with a couple of names. LeBron James blew it out of the water with like 300 and something days or 300 and something games. And it was like Kevin Durant is
averaging basically the same amount of points per game for his career as LeBron. And his efficiencies are way better.
I'm not touching
points per game and shooting splits. They're better than LeBron.
I'm not touching this. Y'all can argue about
LeBron still is. I'm still taking Bron.
He's the all-time leading scorer. That doesn't make him the best scorer ever.
It is. How do you become the all-time leading scorer if you're not the best scorer?
By being a really good scorer and playing longer than anyone else.
And being probably the best player to come out of high school. That's just fact.
LeBron. I'm taking LeBron any day of the week.
Okay, wait. Did Vince Carter play 20 years or 21 seasons?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Vince Carter is not even in the conversation.
You're right. His last year, he was more like a quarter.
But that's foul. But he's arguably one of the only ones.
73% free throw percentage. That's not the best scorer of all time.
Let me say this.
Free throws?
Let me say this.
Or his threes. I'm not calling the best scorer of all time someone who has a 34%, shoots 35% from three his career, maybe even less.
No, don't matter.
I think LeBron James is the best player to ever touch a basketball.
Best scorer.
That doesn't necessarily mean he's the best scorer of all time. Earl, you've said it before, like with other players, comparatively. I understand LeBron is the leading scorer of this league. And to be honest, it doesn't look like it's going to be broken for a minute because, to be honest, I see him playing for another 2 to 3 years. But with all that being said, I think Kevin Durant is what Max said. Maybe more efficient.
Definitely more efficient. By one.
He has that longevity to at least score the amount of points. But there's also been years where Kevin Durant has been out for full seasons. And
that's just luck. That's just injury luck.
it just happens.
Also, Earl, I want to ask you, who's the best passer of all time?
Who's the best passer of all time?
John Stockton. Come on. If you don't say John Stockton.
If it's not, you have to say John Stockton because he leads the NBA in an all-time assist by a wide margin. So it's not Paul, Stockton, it's not LeBron, it's not Magic.
Exactly.
Magic's not even the top passer of all time.
I kind of see his logic here. He's trying to compare it to what you were saying about Bron. But they're
okay with that, though. Are not the whole story.
So hard, man.
But I'm okay with that,
because why wasn't Kareem Abdul-Jabbar considered the greatest of all time when he had the leading scorer? Or why wasn't he considered the best scorer of all time when he was leading that?
Because he wasn't. There's levels to this. I'm just saying it's simply because it's LeBron.
I'm not going to touch this. I'm
saying it for Kareem because it's not
I think LeBron James is the greatest player of all time.
No,
I'm going to put that out there. Okay. Plain as day.
Glaze.
If I need a bucket.
Glaze is crazy.
If
Patrick
I need a
fucking Ewing.
Chat, if I need a bucket right now, give me a bucket. We're winning the championship. I'm picking LeBron James every time. Every time.
What's good, Q?
Q, who's the great Q? You just got here. I'm guessing who's the greatest scorer of all, or who's the greatest scorer of all time? First, just type it out. Who's the greatest scorer of all time?
First name that comes to mind.
Your opinion. The greatest scorer, not greatest offensive talent, not greatest player, greatest scorer. Greatest guy at putting a basketball in the hoop himself.
Ooh, that's a good answer. That's a good pick.
Case answer. But case in point, who is it? Okay, maybe we should phrase this better. Good answer. Who is a better scorer of the basketball? LeBron James or Kevin Durant? A better scorer of the basketball. If we're talking offensive talent, I'll give LeBron the nod there because his passing is leagues above Durant.
Yeah.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about scoring of the basketball. KD, thank you.
Thank you.
Earl, it's okay to have Lakers glaze. It's okay to have Lakers bias.
I'm saying, we
love Lakers bias.
But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, I'm going to stick with it.
You're standing on business, and I can respect the shit out of it. You're standing on business, and I respect it. But LeBron is more consistent than KD. Can we get a confirmation on that?
And LeBron has the thing I'll say about LeBron too, as far as his scoring, he's always evolved his game. LeBron wouldn't be as effective right now if he didn't up his 3-point percentage or became a better 3-point shooter. He can't drive nearly as good as he could have back in his prime. We all know that. I seen him miss 2 layups last night. So as far as scorers, bro,
missed layups in his prime.
I mean, yeah, but you know what I mean.
Y'all remember that one?
As long as we're on hot takes, I'll stand on Anthony Edwards not being top 10 in the NBA.
That was a good one. You can't even get that was a good one. All right.
I like how you're wearing the same thing now that you are in your profile picture.
Had to represent. Give you a little cameo.
All right. Let's transition out to the Kings, Suns, and Mavericks. One team is going to miss out on the NBA playoffs this year and play in. So, of these teams, boys, which team is going to make?
Man, they're also mid, bro.
I know, I agree with you, but
I just want to point out, I always knew the Suns would be in this position, bro. I stood on it. I stood on it from the beginning. Standing on now, bro. They're just not a good team. They weren't before. They aren't now. Even with KD hurt, even with him healthy, they literally could never figure out consistently. Yeah. And that was always the problem.
I think they start to shut down some players.
Mavericks, I mean, they haven't lost since AD got back. What does that actually mean for them? Nothing. I don't think they can make a run in the playoffs with no primary guard. I'm sorry.
Not in the West. You know what? In the East, they might be able to win a playoff series. In the West, probably not.
I love how we both said nothing at the same time.
It's not happening. The Kings, bro, they're toaster fire, bro. I don't know.
Fire.
Yeah.
Not toaster.
I don't know, bro.
I don't know.
Toaster could be good.
I think the logical pick here is the Suns, considering they're the ones currently out. They have the most ground to make up, and now they're missing Durant for at least this week, probably next week as well. Yeah. So that tells me the team that has the most ground to make up, now losing their best or second best, depending on how you want to look at it, player. I would say the Suns, honestly, would not shock me if Sacramento just randomly drops out, though. if you're telling me Phoenix rips off 3 wins out of nowhere and Sacramento just drops 3 wins, I could see it.
I see them falling out. I see them trying to position themselves to at least be in the draft in a semi-good position, to be honest.
But I don't think it would be because of tanking. I just think it would be because they don't know how to close games, the Kings, bro.
That's true, too, yeah. I mean, it's going to be hard to say the least. If I had to say it, the one team that's probably going to make it is probably I think it's going to be the Mavericks. Just because the Suns and the Kings just give me vibes that they're just trying to lose right now. And on top of this, I feel like Sabonis is kind of just like disappointed in the way the organization is kind of running things right now. I feel like they kind of traded De'Aaron Fox for kind of like no reason, because didn't they come to him or something? And on top of that, it's like he didn't know, like, he doesn't know where what the team is doing. Sabonis is just there like, so, hi guys. Are we gonna get some help? Are we gonna get better? What's going on? And I feel like the Sacramento Kings are the ones just like, yeah, like they're just ignoring his calls until they trade him next. So I don't know. I feel like it's just going to be the Mavericks just based off that.
Yeah, personally,
I'm going to say Phoenix doesn't make it. I'm going to lock it in. Phoenix.
Yay, let's go. Welcome to the club.
It's just, if they had Durant, maybe this is different, but logically, I can't see it. I think
it's not different, Max, though.
Mavericks limp into the playoffs.
That's the thing. It's not like KD. I'm literally turning on a game. Kevin Durant, 35 points. Everybody else, let's give KD the ball. We don't have to do anything. Like, even with KD playing, bro, this team just looks incomplete. Bradley Beal's not even playing. I'm not even convinced he has an injury. I think we talked about this too. I just don't think they want him to play anymore, bro. I don't know, bro. It's just that whole team outside of KD just doesn't work, bro. And I don't see a logical way or easy way for them to fix it. And I just think, bro, for the first time, if KD leaves, bro, I'm not even mad, bro. I really not. I'm not going to start those narratives. Oh, KD's the team up. Bro, the Suns, when they went and traded for Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant got an out in my book. I'm sorry.
Hot in your book. I get it.
Y'all remember that time that Bradley Beal went to go visit some like young basketball, like a young youth camp? And he said, hey, none of y'all taking my position?
Yep.
I think somebody did.
I did not. But
it would have been funny if somebody from that video actually got on the team and took his spot. But yeah, I know what you mean.
The flag revealed to be in video.
Oh, what's his name? Oh, imagine this whole time. What's his name? Jalen Bridges was there. What's his name? Their rookie. Did I get his name wrong?
Ryan Dunn?
No.
Ryan
Dunn. I'm stupid. Yeah, Ryan Dunn.
Jalen Bridges.
My bad.
Are you having like a Knicks fans? Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges? Bro, come on,
dude.
Bro. We got to talk about this.
I'm going to Google Jalen Bridges right now.
Jalen Bridges.
Isn't a... Oh, he is... Okay, so he is a basketball player.
Where?
He played for the Suns. Hey! Give me my respect!
He's not a guard, but he does play for the Suns, and he is...
Give me my respect!
He plays for this Suns team.
Hold on.
Give me my fucking respect!
You know what? Good for you, Omar. You got that on us.
Give me my respect. Jalen Bridges is in that video.
But good, you know what?
He's in the crowd. He's there, and he took his spot. He's not a guard, but he's a small forward, I guess. He could be a small forward. So could Bradley Beal.
It's kind of crazy, but good name ball knowledge. I'll give you that. But as a player,
has better name ball knowledge than us. Confirmed.
It's that. What's it called? I haven't played it in a minute actually. The immaculate board
that you cheat on.
Yep.
No, not even that. Just know Jalen Bridges because of the draft.
I know Omar has like a Chat GPT shortcut on his monitor right here.
I don't, but I do use Chat GPT for like helping me with certain things.
Omar, can you name 10 players from the Suns roster?
Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker. What's his name? Grayson Allen. Yusuf Nurkic just not there anymore. No. It's what's his name? He was just traded there. Fuck. Nick Richards, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Shit. Jalen Bridges, like I said. Ryan Dunn, like y'all said. Shit. Fuck. Hold on. I'll remember something.
Point guard.
Oh, Monty Morris, right?
Is he on the team? Is Monty Morris on that team now? He might be. No, you don't get to Google. You're going to see other names. I'm Googling this.
All right, fine.
Wow, look for an outage sheet. Look at him.
I didn't look it up, bro.
No, he is there. Okay, all right.
Monty Morris.
That was 8, I think, right?
That wasn't the guard I was talking about, though, but there's another one. MLE.
Huh? I'm sorry?
That's his
MLE.
No, I don't know.
He signed for the MLE. Point guard from Nomadland.
Dude, I can't remember.
The Banished Kingdom.
Okay, forget that guy. Name 2 more.
2 more. Fuck. I got this. I know I got this.
Big, lengthy guy. Oh.
Dude, I can't. I give up. Fuck. Dude, are you serious?
Bobo
2 players?
Tyus Jones.
No! Oh my god! I have Tyus Jones on my team. That's crazy.
I was gonna say you got the hard ones, bro. Like you got.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I figured you were gonna coast the last 2.
I forgot Bol Bol and Tyus Jones, and Tyus Jones is on my fantasy team. That's
I forgot Bol Bol too. He's on my fantasy team. I was gonna say, who's the rookie? OC.
Not even going to try to
Idarago or something.
Idarago, yes, thank you.
Osho Idarago, yeah.
Osho. Thank you.
Right.
Like, Osho.
Oshai.
Right, let's move on to the next topic real quick. Players who are expected to level their game this postseason. Who do you guys got next up? Chat, feel free to interact with us. Who do y'all got next
who's gonna be like the standouts of the playoffs? Like who do we expect is gonna have a better postseason than regular season? I mean, I think the obvious answer is Jamal Murray. I think everyone expects Jamal Murray to turn into
the Lakers, probably.
I'm gonna say Jamal Murray. I'm
gonna
say Bron because he elevates a little bit in the playoffs.
I think Jimmy
I'll
too.
Say Jimmy Butler.
DFS.
And no matter how much you hate him, Earl, Jalen Brunson is a playoff riser. So he's
how do you get that? I hate Jalen Brunson.
He is a playoff riser, though. You gotta admit that.
He's a playoff riser. Trae Young, we ball. I'm gonna stick on that. Stand on that.
Honestly,
I think Trae Young is the only person that could possibly get Boston out. I'm convinced he's the only person in the playoffs that could possibly do it.
I had this conversation.
So I'm there with it.
I'm not saying they're gonna beat Boston. I think that's kind of like, I don't want to use the word delusional, but it's just not the most productive conversation. But what I will say is they've been figuring things out. Like Dyson Daniels is playing amazing, and I don't think people are talking about that. You know what?
No, they do. He broke the record for steals in a season. I think that's being talked about. He's getting his flowers.
True. I'll say now, but like to my point, Hawks don't get a lot of good media attention. Mm-hmm. When's the last thing you heard anything about Zachary Richardson?
True.
Yesterday.
Who's averaging in his last, I think, 5 or 6 games, he's averaging like 20 plus now.
That's a bad example because I did just hear yesterday that he has career high 36 the night before.
Yeah.
So, true, yeah.
I did hear that. That did make I feel like that didn't.
But I'm saying my point was it took that, but he's been playing really good. Like he's been putting up. Here, I don't lie on the number.
No, you know who's been playing really fucking good? Denny Avdia, man.
That is true.
No matter how much I don't like the guy, I have to say that he's doing really well for himself. He's really fucking shit up in Portland, and I gotta give him his props for that. So he's
not gonna be a playoff riser, but I mean,
I know. I'm saying you should put him on a playoff team. That'll get him there.
Yeah. You know who I think might be a good candidate to step up in the postseason? I'm gonna say Kyle Kuzma. Without Lillard on that team,
I don't think he got come back. For that.
I could see Kuzma kind of going demon mode in some playoff games.
Earl, have you ever seen Solo Leveling?
Yeah.
Whenever Kyle Kuzma takes a shot, the little box comes up. You do not have this in your bag.
That's crazy, bro.
But dude can score. I can see him having like a couple 25, 23, 27-point playoff games. I'm not saying that's going to translate to winning, but he could second option Kuzma next to Giannis. Maybe he goes crazy.
How do I tell you this, bro?
Am I putting too high expectations on Kuzma? I mean, listen, the guy's what's he averaging since he went to Milwaukee? Let me check.
Like 5 points a game.
Here's why I'll agree with this.
Hey, let's go.
I don't think the Bucks have anything else.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, they need it.
That's the only reason why I agree with it. If I think they had Dame, I don't think we would be having this conversation.
No. I'm saying this purely because he is now the second option with Dame now.
Yeah. Okay. Then I agree with that.
Like, he's averaging 15 points a game right now for the Bucks.
If he can average 20 plus, then yes. But
he can average 20 plus in a playoff series.
He's gonna have to have the time to do that, though. Doc Rivers is notorious for making bad freaking decisions at bad times. So,
that's another thing. I was gonna say, Doc. I know we moved on from my coaches on the hot seat, but Doc Rivers, if the Bucks don't, I understand that Lillard is not there, but still, surely if they don't win a playoff series, Doc Rivers.
I think right? Mike Budenholzer was actually in a better position than Doc Rivers is now. I think Doc Rivers ruined that team. I think he made them soft. I think Giannis is their only bright light there, to be completely honest. Giannis is the only one that can bring them anything. I don't think. Look.
You're not wrong, but yeah. Earl, what's going on with your lighting over there? There you go.
Yeah.
Turn that light back on.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like another riser. Oh man, I'm gonna just be biased for a little bit. Why not?
Go for it. We're here for it.
Says that after a 10-minute Braun bias.
I think Rui Hachimura. I think last year he had his moments, but I think depending on the matchup, he definitely will have his opportunities. I mean, he's pretty much when we play LeBron, Austin Reeves, and Luka, he's the fourth best offensive option on the floor. So I think you'll get a lot of easy opportunities. So I'll say that. Other than that, that's pretty much it for the Lakers.
I will actually say not Rui for the reason you said, that he's at best going to be he's a fourth, at best a third option at any given point, because you're always going to have at least two of Braun, Luka, and Reeves on the floor ahead of him. So I'm actually going to say Jackson Hayes has the potential to earn himself a fat contract this postseason. Y'all remember when Bismack Biyombo had a crazy postseason for the Raptors back in I want to say 2016, back on the Lowry DeRozan teams. They really he was their big, he was their guy. He played major minutes and had a really good playoff run, and that got him a huge contract. That got him a bag, and then he was always solid, but he never really lived. He never hit those highs again. I could see something similar happening to Jackson Hayes, where he plays, he has double-doubles in the playoffs, rim protector. He's playing in LA, so the spotlight is on him. I could see him playing up to the pressure, getting himself a pretty sizable bag this offseason, and then never doing that again. But this could be his time to really show himself.
Yeah. And then shout out to last one, Gabe Vincent. I mean, he's been – I don't want to jinx it, but last two games, I think, it was 15, and then last night he had 20. So – if he can hit those shots, man, he's gonna get the opportunities. It could be good for us. But other teams,
I think the Pacers guys, Nesmith and Nembhard, after what they did last year, I think they're candidate. I could see them stepping up again.
Yeah.
So I'll say this actually, because this does pertain to the playoffs, but it doesn't really necessarily say. I'm not going to necessarily say this person should be a riser soon, but somebody that is necessarily a playoff riser. I'm talking about Brunson, but I want to say that I want him to take less shots. As crazy as that sounds, I want him to take less shots.
Fewer shots. Fewer shots.
Yes. Sorry, my bad. But what I'm trying, So the reason why is because we've seen as of late when he's out, obviously more guys are getting more shots. We were talking about OG Anunoby, who's going on an amazing run right now. And then we're talking also about Mikal Bridges, who's Honestly, I don't know why he only plays really well when Jalen Brunson is not on the floor. I don't know what that is, but fine. I'll live with it. It's about facilitation. And it's about getting players their shots up every night. Because if you don't have that consistency on getting the same amount of shots every night, you're going to falter. That's what happened to OG earlier this season. That's what happened with Mikal earlier this season. And when players are out of rhythm, when players are not shooting shots, it makes it harder to make them. So with that being said, a factor that I'm looking for in this postseason from the Knicks in particular is to see if Brunson can facilitate the ball a little bit more than he has been recently. Because if he can, that's going to get his wings open and on fire. So I'm looking forward to see what they can do.
All right. Then I guess any other risers? I'll just throw a random name, just close out. I'll throw a random riser. This might not even be a playoff riser. This probably is going to wind up being a play-in riser. Tyler Hero's going for like 40 in one of these play-in.
Oh yeah, what? Easy.
Tyler Hero is going to take that Heat team and he's going to say, enough is enough. I'm getting us into the playoffs one way, or he's going to try his damnedest to get them into the playoffs. Forget passing to Khalil Ware. Forget passing to Terry Rozier and Haywood Highsmith. Tyler Hero's going for 25 shots in one of those playoffs games. He's going to have like a 40 piece. I don't know if they're going to win that game, but the Tyler Hero crazy playing game will happen.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
Okay.
Last one I'll throw out there before we move on. Scottie Pippen Jr. on the Grizzlies. He's been playing good off the bench.
Interesting.
And I think, like, I made a joke when we were watching that game. Like, he was almost more of a threat than Ja when we were playing him. And it wasn't even, like, it was the truth. He had more points at the time. Yeah, shout out to Mal. He was there watching. He just, I don't know. I think he just completed his game. Like, obviously, I think he still has steps to take to get better. But he can hit the three. He has a mid-range. He can get to the paint easily. Defense is there as well. But I don't know. He's been looking solid recently. So I'll say him. He'll get his opportunity.
I like that.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Ja hasn't been playing too well as of late. I think they low-key rushed him from injury. I have seen those reports that they did rush him from injury. So maybe there's something going on that end.
Reeves better.
All right, let's move on. Let me see what we got next on this last one. So
okay, show, right? And we
players. That is the show.
Time's gone fast.
Time has indeed gone really fast. Damn. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on this episode of the Beyond the Backboard podcast. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Be sure to follow us on X, and be sure to follow us on our individual social medias in that description that you'll see in our YouTube. Again, thank you guys so much. Appreciate every single one of you guys. These were my beautiful co-hosts, and this is us. See you guys next week. Peace.
Adios.
Peace out, goats.